Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we've got another box of figures to check out, and this one is almost meant to be basically like a little trip down memory lane of what has been released in the Jurassic World line, because I recently acquired a very large box here next to me of Jurassic World figures. I saw someone selling them. They had a really good price on it, especially for how many figures are here, and I figured I would just snag it for stuff that I could customize or repaint and stuff. I think there might be a few figures in here maybe I don't have, but they're not like anything super exciting. However, I figured, well, I might as well make a video out of it so then we can just look back through some of the figures that has been released from Mattel, as well as I think some Hasbro stuff in here, and just generally again show off the very cool figures that I have in this box. So the very first one that I have is one of the Atroraptors. As you can see, it is the 12-inch basic version of Atroraptor Panthera, released by Mattel for the Jurassic World Dominion line, and I actually really like these figures. I think the 12-inch basic Atroraptors are some of the nicest that Mattel has released, and I'm heavily contemplating trying to get two more, because I think there's another one in here, so then I have to get two more to complete the group again, and then repaint them so I have some really nice, more realistic versions of the Atroraptor squad in my collection. The next figure in here is the Concavenator. Now, I don't really recall if this was the first or second release of the Concavenator, but I do remember thinking it's pretty cool. You can see that. Actually, that's a little loose right there. But I remember thinking it's a pretty cool looking figure at the time, and again, still this many years later after its release, I am still really quite happy about this Concavenator. I think it was a really, really cool figure from Mattel. We've also got a figure in here that I actually use quite often for size comparisons. We have Ankylosaurus Bumpy, the adult version of Ankylosaurus Bumpy. The head's a little loose, but this one, as always, is a pretty fun figure. It's definitely not Mattel's best Ankylosaurus, but it is a really neat version of Bumpy. It's always fun to actually have that adult version of Bumpy. There are also some minis in here. First of all, we have one of the Hasbro Jurassic World minis for their Allosaurus, which I actually really like this. I think the mini version of the Allosaurus was a really fun figure from them, as well as the Dimorphodon as well, which isn't quite as nice, I would say, as the Allosaurus, but still pretty cool. And again, some of the Hasbro figures actually had some pretty decent paint apps. This one's not great, but you can see there is at least a little bit of color added to that for being a minifigure. No painted eyes, though, which is definitely not great. And then, if you want to jump back to the Hasbro Jurassic World line, we also have one of the ugliest Jurassic World Tyrannosaurus figures in existence, which I've actually considered reviewing just because it is so darn ugly, and I never have yet, but you can see we also have this one in here. I really don't know what Hasbro was thinking, and it's crazy to think that they released such a large amount of horrible figures for the time, because like Hasbro can do better. I know they can. I've seen them do better, so it's just sad to see that they released so many ugly figures for Jurassic World. We also randomly have the Velociraptor that was in the one Mattel set that had a vehicle. I forget what vehicle it was. The Capture and Crush truck, I think, potentially. This Raptor was, an exclusive release to that set, so not really the greatest Raptor, but I guess he's pretty cool for what he is. On top of that, again, when it comes to the Hasbro Jurassic World line, we have one of the crazy larger Raptors that were released in that line. Again, I have definitely been considering getting some reviews up of a lot of the older Hasbro Jurassic World figures, just because I don't really have any reviews of them at all on the channel, and I feel like some people might be interested in watching them. Again, maybe to laugh at them, I'm not too sure, but this is one of the large Raptors that, you would have found in the Jurassic World line, the very first Jurassic World. We've also got some Mattel minis in here. You can see we have a Stygimoloch as well as a Giganotosaurus, so those are pretty cool. I actually think that's one of the older minis from Mattel, because it's a little bit larger, not quite the soft material that you find on the newer minis like you have for the Giga here that, started with Jurassic World Dominion when they changed the entire versions, like the entire material and everything for the minis, and decreased their size. We've also got the Machikosaurus from Mattel, another really cool figure. I absolutely love this figure, and this one, again, is in really nice shape, actually, for what it is. I really actually like the colors of this one. Sometimes I forget how nice some of the older Mattel figures are until I end up like pulling them off of the shelf or something, and then it really reminds me of how nice so much of what Mattel has released is. We've got ourselves a Triceratops in here as well. You can see one of the, I don't know if this was a Roar Attack, Roar Strikers, I forget, but another version of a Triceratops. We have so many Triceratops now out from Mattel. And then a figure I've been wanting to repaint for years, we have the Mattel Suchomimus, which I will definitely be repainting this one at some point because, I mean, why the heck wouldn't I now that I have this one, which is, again, an extra. And this is another figure that I really like, especially when it was released. I loved this figure. I wish the tail length was a little bit better, but it's still a super, super cool figure from Mattel. We also have one of the figures that I actually don't have and did want to add to my collection. We have one of the Imaginext Velociraptor Blue figures, and I always felt like this one was pretty fun. And look what happens when you actually know how to use a glass eye. I don't know why, for some reason, the Imaginext line consistently prevails with their glass eyes, but the Hammond collection can't seem to figure it out. That doesn't make any sense. But something about this Velociraptor Blue I kind of liked. I felt like he was fun, and every time I saw him in, package in store, I was always like, well, maybe one day I'll grab that set just for that Velociraptor, but now I don't need to. We've also got this interesting creature. Now, I have absolutely no idea what this dinosaur is from. I don't think it's a Jurassic World release, but again, I don't really know much about it, so I can't tell you for sure. But I know one thing, I don't have that one, or at least I didn't before. Now, this one is a Jurassic World figure, and you can see it's a very interesting one for sure. I don't know a whole lot about these figures from the Jurassic World line. When Jurassic World had come out, the line was so lackluster, I absolutely blew it off. At the time, I think the only figures I ever purchased was the Ceratosaurus. I think that was the only one I was ever intrigued by, so I never picked up anything else until after I really started to get back into collecting, and then I started grabbing some stuff. So I don't know much about that one. I'll have to look into that guy. There is also this Hasbro Dilophosaurus, which if it didn't have such a floppy frill, would actually be a pretty cool figure. I think if it had a little bit more of a stable frill and an articulated jaw, this one could have been really fun, especially because the coloration on it is super unique and very different. Definitely a standout when it comes to its colors, but unfortunately, again, it does have its fair share of issues like every Hasbro Jurassic World release seems to have. There is also a mini Mattel Mosasaurus, which is a fun figure, one that I have repainted in the past. Maybe I'll repaint it again just because I've got another one. And we also have one of the Micro Collection Stegosaurus, but whoever had this lot prior to me seems to have removed it from the base, so that's interesting. I actually never took any of mine off of the bases, so it's pretty cool to actually see one off of the base. Another super weird figure. Again, I'm going to have to look into what these ones are. You can see there is a logo on the side. I'm just not familiar with it, but obviously we have some very weird version of an Ankylosaurus in here. And another random Mattel Velociraptor, no surprise there. There are tons of those out there. I think there are more Velociraptors from Mattel than any other dinosaur species. Maybe the T-Rex is the only one that could rival those raptors. There's also this Indominus Rex. Now, I don't know exactly what this Indominus is from originally, but I do know you can find it at the Jurassic World exhibition, as well as potentially the Jurassic World live show, but I can't really recall. But I do remember this figure being at the Jurassic World exhibit for sure, and I do have that one, but I never actually opened it. I always left it in package. It came with, I think, Velociraptor Blue and a T-Rex. Yet another goofy dinosaur that looks pretty much the same as the one there in the back. Again, know absolutely nothing about those. Then we've got ourselves some sort of a battle damage Indominus Rex from Jurassic World. Again, another figure that I'm pretty sure I have. There are still a few of the Hasbro line that I do want to get my hands on, especially when it comes to the hybrid dinosaurs. But even from the main line, even though they're ugly, I've just begun trying to get them into my collection so I can at least have the Hasbro line complete, even if it isn't the most appealing line in the world. There is also one of the Mattel Pteranodon, again, obviously designed after the Jurassic World version as far as the color scheme goes, but definitely looking more like a JP3 Pteranodon when it comes to the sculpt. And Mattel's 4 millionth Velociraptor Blue, because there are just so many, as well as one of their mini Apatosaurus. This is obviously a battle-damaged version, which you can see right there. I do remember that guy. And as I said, we do have the other Atroraptor in here, or an other Atroraptor, because there are 4 total, but there are 2 in this lot. Again, another one that I may end up repainting at some point. And wouldn't you guess it, yes, we have another Velociraptor Blue in here, because why wouldn't we? We also have the Dracorex in here as well. Again, I really, really like that figure. In fact, I think I remember really loving all of the Dracorex from Mattel, as well as a mini Mattel T-Rex and another of these micro collection figures. This time we have the Triceratops removed from the base. They do make really cool little hatchling versions, very Kenner-like hatchlings. And then we actually also have this Triceratops. Now I can very clearly see this is a JP Triceratops, but I actually don't know much about this one. I don't think I have it in my collection, so this is a pleasant surprise to actually find this one in here. I'm definitely going to have to look into that guy because he's pretty nice. And then, yep, we've got another Triceratops from Mattel. I actually think that might be their very first Triceratops release from the Roarivore line, as well as a minifigure Tylosaurus from Safari Ltd. This one seems like the most random addition to this box. And a Monolophosaurus, definitely a fun release from the Monolophosaurus. Again, if only they painted the tails on them. We've also got one of those juice toppers that are out with the Triceratops. Again, totally random in here, as well as a minifigure Velociraptor Blue, because we didn't have enough Velociraptor Blue in here. The final 3... First of all, we have a Hasbro Ankylosaurus, which I think is actually a kind of fun figure. I do really quite like those Ankylosaurus from Hasbro. As well as the Scorpiovenator from Mattel, which I really love. I think this is one of Mattel's nicest figures, even though the head's super huge, but I really, really like that one. And the final member of this lot is the Yankshuanosaurus, who doesn't want to fit in screen because he's so big. But again, a really cool figure. Love the Yankshuanosaurus from Mattel. Another figure that definitely needed more tail length, but still a really cool version of a Yankshuanosaurus. So again, that is my lot. I got quite a few figures in this box. I think I paid like $50 maybe for all of these, which is an insanely good deal for this amount of figures. So let me know in the comments section which one was your favorite, and if there are any figures in here I didn't review, if you would like to see reviews of them, let me know and I may get those up on the channel. And of course, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.